What up, what up, what up? Welcome back, Team DWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. Y'all already know what time it is. Another day in paradise, aka 10 a.m. Saturday or Sunday, 6 p.m. Wednesday. That's your time to come check out your boy. We got that consistent posting schedule in the building. I know some people hate it, but we gonna do it regardless. So, shit, y'all already know we got a good topic today. And as y'all seen by the video title, it's gonna be a barn burner. Shouts out to Burner and Burns, because we gonna start off paying a couple of bills first, and then we gonna get into the video. So let me get this ready.
Tending the garden can be quite relaxing. Everybody run for your lives! The memory is tending the garden with you! Beep! Yeah.
What up, C4? Appreciate you stopping by.
Some people are scared of zombies or vampires, but the thing that scare black people the most are niggas and nigga mama. Tom Dubois was as far from a nigga as a black man could be. Distinctly knew that every black man's spirit is weakened during a nigga moment. What the? Oh, come on, you nincompoop! You can't do that! Hey! Come on! Nigga moments can happen to any black man at any time. Hey! That was my space! I had my blinker on and everything! Fuck you, punk ass, pussy ass, hook ass nigga! I'll get your motherfucking sedity ass nigga! Don't never in your life ever try to holler at me, nigga! Fuck with me, nigga! I'll be the top of the trunk on your bitch ass nigga! Get my motherfucking What did you say, nigga? You know what, motherfucker? Eat a dick, nigga. I'm tired of this mother. Oh, yeah. Look at you. You was popping all that good shit a second ago. Then you got kicked in your chest. You eat a dick, nigga. You eat a dick. Oh my God. Sir, are you okay? Who did this to you? What did he look like? Did anyone see who
Shouts out, good
accosted
word,
this
Amy
man?
Naylor.
I got a date. I can't.
C4, let's see. That's enough of that. We're gonna come back to that one after we get into our actual video for the day. Y'all know how you doing, how you feeling. Hopefully you're smoking good. I am. What the fuck was that? Random sound bite. But anyways. Ah. Turn your volume down, nigga. Black people. Anyways. Today's video topic is basically why most people in the industry aren't actually making money. You got people out there that are making money because it's over $1 billion industry. But for the most part, us common folk are just common, right? We ain't getting to that bag like everybody think we should be, and that's what our topic is today. So we try to keep it entertaining and educational. So the infotainment is a category, and I'm trying to master that one. So you know how it be. We're gonna get it cracking though. Let's get into this video.
So how quickly did the U.S. change its mind on cannabis? Here is Ronald Reagan when he was running for president in 1980.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States, and we haven't begun to find out all of the ill effects.
Cannabis was illegal back then and remained so for years. How about today? The vast majority of Americans support some form of legalization, and cannabis is fully legal in 24 states. It's sold in 14 more for medical use, although, to be honest, the medical tag is often a very small fig leaf. Oklahoma, for instance, leads the U.S. in per capita cannabis dispensaries, and it is one of those 14 states that allows only medical use. In other words, when it comes to cannabis, it's pretty easy to get a note from your doctor. So, how widespread is cannabis use today? Last week, in part one of this series, we heard that the U.S. just reached a milestone. There are more daily or near daily users of cannabis than there are daily or near daily users of alcohol. The cannabis industry today employs 500,000 people, includes 12,000 licensed retail locations, and takes in $30 billion in annual sales. So today, in part two of our series,
I mean, that's 30 billion. I mean, 30 billion. Good morning, Tamika Davis. How you doing? Seeing you over at Heather's chat. Good to see you over here. Yeah, look, most states are doing about $1 billion a year, especially if they're large states. Here in Missouri, I know last year we did over 2 billion in sales, our first recreational year. So, shout out to Missouri for getting that money up. You know what I'm saying? We do what we do around here. We stay smoking like them Chiefs. Shouts out to my video sponsors and Superfood Parents. Y'all know to go check them out too.
we started out with a simple question. Who is making all that money in the cannabis economy? But we learned there might be a better question. Is anybody making any money?
Everybody believed that this would be like Silicon Valley, this giant growth industry.
The cannabis industry is a bit of a mess, and we explore the reasons. There are a lot of reasons.
I sunk my life savings and raised over $2 million to get into the game.
It's hard to articulate the regulatory complexity of every single thing you have to do.
Taxes are high, and there's a lot of product in the market. There's illicit product in the market.
We had this myth that with legalization, we could stop all enforcement. That was totally wrong.
Fun fact of the day, there are more weed stores in Los Angeles than there are Starbucks. And more than 70% of those LA weed stores are illegal. This may explain why one of California's biggest legal cannabis companies, once valued at $3 billion, recently filed for bankruptcy. As the great social critic Kermit the Frog once observed,
It's not that easy being green.
This is Freakonomics Radio, the podcast that explores the hidden side of everything, with your host, Stephen Dubner.
Hopefully y'all rolling up. Well, I had to stop and check references, but I do that quickly. We got two devices, so we always got to check and make sure that some people are cool walking up in here before we throw them a jacket, because we want you to do your networking. Tony Zittle, what up?
Got aerospace and biotech. You can go all the way back to the gold rush in the mid-19th century. And for a while, it looked like there would be a new 21st century juggernaut, the green rush.
Well, yeah, I frequently make fun of people for only having their avatars in streams. So since I don't do avatars, I just steal other people's videos, is how some people see it. So instead of me stealing somebody else's video, I just put their video on the screen and show my face from time to time. Shout out to showing his face, because, I think I'm handsome. My mama liked me. She said I was cute one of them days. You know how that go. So, but we do it real life on both ways, right? You see what I'm saying? So, I be making fun of people that are those avatar floaters, because, I actually put my ugly face on camera no matter how it is that day of the day. You see what I'm saying? We going to get it in. We got a little bit of snow yesterday, but hell, it's December now, so we expect that. You know what I'm saying? If y'all ain't expecting snow, I don't know where y'all at. Well, I'm in Missouri. The rest of y'all in whatever part of the world y'all in. So some of y'all don't even never have snow. Hell, shout out to the people in Alaska that's like, man, I don't know what they talk about. We got snow year round around here. Shout out to the around here. Tony, let's see. Tony, go to channel. Oh, that's another cool person. That's part of the fam. Shout out to you for being in here. Appreciate that. You get a wrench too. That's why I said we be checking our references real quick. But yeah, we basically talking about today's topic is the industry and people ain't making as much money as they should be. And you know how we do. We don't just talk about problems. We try to get solutions in there too. And y'all know I'm all about the solutions. So, I'm an indoor garden consultant. So how do we solve the problems when we have them? But y'all know y'all got to hit me up to talk about that because, some people might try to cancel a player. But, you can always DM me on Instagram. Shouts out to the gram, TWP, aka Team DWC, baby.
Legal weed. California was already an agricultural powerhouse with a long history of growing cannabis. Up north, the Emerald Triangle, Humboldt, Mendocino, and Trinity counties, was known for producing some of the planet's best weed during many decades when it was illegal. In 1996, California voters approved the Compassionate Use Act, making it the first state to allow the sale of cannabis for medical use. And then in 2016, California became the sixth state to fully legalize cannabis. By 2021, sales in California reached nearly $6 billion. But
That's all to the good, big homie. You know how we do.
Even though the demand for cannabis across
We're
the country
professional YouTubers around here, so we actually know how to network
has the green
and
rush
promote the
slowed down?
networking part.
Let's
That's
start
how shit
with
actually
one
gets done.
California entrepreneur.
I ain't afraid of you meeting my audience. I'm trying to make sure everybody in my audience meets you too.
Cannabis house of brands called Mammoth Distribution.
Shit.
We are based in Los Angeles.
You can steal my audience. Good
House
luck,
of
right?
Brands,
Yeah,
distribution
you
in
might
the
get you
name.
some supporters.
I assume that means that you don't cultivate, that you market and sell, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, correct. We do product development, we manufacture our products, but we do
Oh,
not
go to
cultivate.
big homie.
There's over 10,000 licensed cultivators in California, and so we have deep relationships with key suppliers who, the ecosystem is pretty complicated because there's indoor farms, there's outdoor farms, there's greenhouse farms, lots of different genetics in this industry.
Just name for me some of your
Genetics
products.
alone
How
make the
many
industry
different formats are there?
There's pre-rolls, there's
lucrative.
edibles, there's vapes, there's pills, there's capsules, there's bombs, there's tons of different formats in which a plant manifests itself now.
What about beverages?
Beverages is one of the fastest growing segments in the industry, which is relatively new. We also happen to run and own the largest cannabis beverage manufacturer in probably the world. We do the most in California. It's called Space Station.
Patel got into the cannabis industry in 2017. Before that, he helped start a company that sold barware, cocktail glasses, shakers, things like that. And before that,
I studied business at Berkeley and public policy, and I wanted to go be a public policy professor. My first job out of college was a research associate at the Public Policy Institute of California, where I learned more about interesting how the government can kind of boost certain industries. My first research was on Silicon Valley and some of the things that helped California become the leader in tech.
one reason Patel moved into cannabis is because he thought it might be in a similar position, to be boosted.
Everybody believed that this would be this giant growth industry, and so a lot of investment dollars went into building an insane amount of infrastructure. And here in California, where people thought this would be the epicenter of it all, because if federal legalization happened, just like most agricultural products, California, especially with its history of cannabis, would be the leading exporter.
If federal legalization happened. If you're looking for the main reason why the cannabis industry has not lived up to its hype, and why much of the industry is in a state of chaos, this would be a good place to start. Even though cannabis is legally sold in most states, it is still illegal at the federal level. In fact, it's still classified under the Controlled Substances Act as a Schedule I drug, along with heroin and LSD. That is, drugs with no legitimate medical use and high potential for abuse. That may soon change for cannabis. We'll hear more about that in the final episode of the series. But for the time being, the federal government still sees cannabis as an illegal drug, and that has many downstream effects. For starters, a cannabis entrepreneur won't have access to traditional financing or investing, since most financial institutions don't want to partner with an industry that Washington considers illegitimate.
You will not have access to any of the big banks. There's been a few credit unions that have been starting to bank the cannabis industry. When I started 5-6 years ago, it was 100% cash. Now, pretty much every cannabis operator of size has a bank account with a local credit union that you've probably never heard of.
So if you are banking with a credit union or something equivalent to that, maybe a small local bank decides to do it.
Yep.
Does that mean you can accept credit cards?
No. It's basic banking functions. I'm talking like storage of cash, being able to wire money, and you pay exorbitant fees.
Another result of the federal illegality is that you can't sell your product across state lines or open a shop in another state without going through that state's licensing process. And when it comes to state licensing, there is no standard playbook. Some states license at the local level as well as the state level. Some put a tight cap on the number of retail licenses, Arkansas and Alabama, for instance, while others are more laissez-faire, like California and Michigan. Some charge a lot for a license. In California, there are many types of license, and some cost nearly $250,000. In some states, they're cheap, like Oklahoma, where a license costs only
Man, we know they tripping.
$2,500. That may
They done
explain
been
why
drunk behind the
Oklahoma
wheel
has
for
the
too
most
long.
dispensaries per capita of any state.
The
But it's
entirety
cool
of the
'cause, you
cannabis
know,
market is filled
As everybody says, since they let felons be president, I might have to run for president now. You see what I'm saying? Because, hell, you know, you put me in there, I'm going to get some work done. Shouts out to the Homework 2025. We're going to be campaigning after that. Shouts out to the campaigning process because, you know, like I said, hey, I'll be that guy. I'll come in here and put in all the work because I've been putting in work. I'm used to it. So what do you say? I'm used to it. Go back to the workbook 2024. Go back to all the videos we did before that. Y'all know we've been out here doing this video review thing for a minute. Shout out to keeping it popping because that's what popcorn's all about, baby.
with an amazing number of contradictions and confusion when it comes to policy and government and states versus federal and whatnot.
All of these complications make it hard for a cannabis entrepreneur to achieve any kind of scale. And then there are the regulations.
It's hard to articulate the regulatory complexity of every single thing you have to do. You have to have live cameras everywhere. You have to have locking ID mechanisms everywhere an employee goes. You have to have a plan for everything that you have to submit and get approval before you can move things around or change things. It feels like you have a microscope on you.
There are also testing requirements. The cannabis plant is what's known as a bioaccumulator. It can absorb many substances in the air, water, and soil where it grows. In some places, that could include pesticides and heavy metals.
The amount of lab testing through the entire process is insane. No agricultural product has this. Every single part of the plant has to be tested for final sale.
The idea is to make sure that the cannabis sold in licensed stores is safe, and many states monitor all cannabis with a tracking system called METRIC, or Marijuana Enforcement Tracking Reporting Compliance.
Shout out
METRIC
to
is
the
the
big homie Beat
software
After Beat.
that the
Y'all know to
government
hit
in
that
California
man Cash
decided
App
to
and go
use to
give
do what's
him
called
his watch
seed to sale.
hours.
So the moment a
Trying to make
cannabis
sure he
seed
get his
is
bag.
planted, it has to be tagged. Every part of it and
Wait, every single plant is tagged?
every single plant is tagged. So if you're a cultivator, you are tagging and putting into the government database, I planted this product, this is the tag number. And then as you harvest it, every single product that comes from it has to be tagged all the way across the system. So that if you bought a pre-roll at a dispensary, they can track that all the way back to every single plant or multiple plants that made that product.
Which is good, but kind of bad at the
There's one
same
more
time because, hell, you know exactly where that pre-roll came from, but then you're like, well, damn, imagine having to, okay, I cut the plant, here's what we did. We made it live rosin or we made it flour. So if you make it flour now, you got to know where every gram of that plant went to, which is crazy. Yeah, definitely crazy. Y'all know to go support that big homie Beat After Beat. He had like 700 subs now. This boy done hit a popcorn grow right there. You see what I'm saying? Hell, you know, I buy subs, but hell, Beat After Beat actually out here getting them through networking. I get them through networking, then I network with people I can buy subs from because that's what I know. You see what I'm saying? That's why I said, hey, we hit numbers. I mean, hell, 1,000 subs ain't hard to do if you got $25. We'll put you in the game, but that's another story for later on. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, 735. See, he said he moving through them 700s. The guy was just at 200 subs. Now he's at 700. He done went through like 500 subs in like a month. Yes, network only. That's what I was saying. That's why we practice the networking, because the networking on itself works. You'll get your numbers up, hell, especially whenever you out there being networkable. You see what I'm saying? You show up to people's content, you do your content, and it's a beautiful thing. You see what I'm saying? Hey, I tell people all the time, I stop watching TV because I got shit to do on YouTube. Whether it's my video or the homie video, we gonna be out here getting it in all day on YouTube because that's where the bag is coming from. But anyways, let's get back to the video.
Big wrinkle that comes from cannabis being illegal on the federal level and still being a Schedule 1 drug. This has to do with taxes, specifically a section of the IRS tax code known as 280E. This came about in 1981 during the Reagan administration when a convicted cocaine trafficker argued in court that he should be allowed to deduct his legitimate business expenses even though his business was illegitimate. Congress responded by creating Rule 280E, which prevents anyone trafficking in controlled substances from deducting their business expenses. For someone like Nick Patel, this means that other than the cost of the cannabis itself, for expenses like storage and transportation, banking and franchise fees, packaging and marketing, none of that is tax deductible, as it is for other industries. Which means that a legal cannabis operator might pay an effective federal tax rate of around 70%. That's in addition to state and local taxes. Los Angeles, for instance, has a 5% cannabis excise tax. So, what do you do if you're an entrepreneur with that kind of tax burden? You might consider just not paying your taxes. That is certainly what's been happening on the state level. A recent report from Green Wave Advisors found that in California alone, cannabis businesses owe more than $700 million in unpaid taxes. But it's unlikely the state will ever see that money. More than 70% of those companies are no longer in business. Coming up after the break, there's one more huge problem for the legal cannabis industry, the illegal cannabis industry. I'm Stephen Dubner. This is Freakonomics Radio. We'll be right back. Because cannabis is still illegal on the federal level, even a legitimate cannabis business faces many hurdles, as we've been hearing today. You have limited access to banking and financing, you face intense and expensive state regulations, you pay very high taxes, and in order to expand to a new state, you have to get a new license and navigate an entirely different set of regulations. Despite all these unkind business conditions, some firms have managed to scale up. MSOs, multi-state operators, and they tend to be vertically integrated, cultivating and processing cannabis, creating their own brands, and operating retail shops. One of the biggest is Curaleaf, which is headquartered in New York City, has roughly 150 stores in 17 states. There's also Green Thumb Industries based in Chicago with 95 stores in 14 states. Another big one is Trulieve, which is based in Florida. As of this recording, Florida allows only medical cannabis, and Trulieve dominates that market. On November 5th, Florida voters will have the chance to allow recreational use, in which case Trulieve would be in a strong position to satisfy what will likely be a lot of new demand. This is a common strategy for some MSOs. Set up shop in places with medical licensing so that you're ready if that state adds recreational use. This may remind you of how two of the biggest sports gambling platforms, FanDuel and DraftKings, set up their operations years ago around fantasy sports. Back then, sports gambling was legal in only a few places, but in 2018, the Supreme Court lifted the ban on national sports gambling, leaving FanDuel and DraftKings in a perfect position to start taking in real money. Anyway, back to these cannabis MSOs. Even the biggest ones just aren't that big. This is an industry where scaling up is, at least for now, very hard. Even Curaleaf, the biggest American cannabis company by revenue, is thought to have only about 4% of the entire legal market. Some of this has to do with state licensing.
Most states have limited the number of licenses any one company can own. But in many cases, that's not a lot. The maximum number of licenses that you can have in New Jersey is 3 dispensaries. 3 dispensaries in a state of 12 million people isn't exactly market domination.
That is Adam Gores.
I'm a senior vice president with the Cannabis Company, as well as the chairperson of the Coalition for Cannabis Scheduling Reform.
The Cannabist is a multi-state operator based in New York.
I got involved in the cannabis space about 7 or 8 years ago.
But hold on. What they ain't letting you know is, okay, you only get the 3 dispensaries, but you own 3 dispensaries in highly marketable areas that lets you target those. Like, say, for instance, in Missouri, I'd have one in Kansas City, one in St. Louis, and then probably one in Springfield. You see what I'm saying? With me having a dispensary in each of those, that actually does give me control of the market because those are the 3 biggest cities in said state. All the rest of the little towns are going to be coming through to pick up that Team Deepwater Cultivating Bucketheads pack for the week. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all Bucketheads. We're going to be having y'all weekly packages on the way. That's another thing we got coming up on Buy Me a Coffee in 2025 when we get into our homework. But, we ain't talking about that yet. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a video coming up in a video coming up in a video. But, spoiler alert, as they say. Shit. But y'all know how we do.
After career in politics, I was a senior advisor to a number of Democratic governors. But after business school, I was looking for an opportunity that was both mission-driven, but also a growing economic sector.
The cannabis started out with medical cannabis. They were originally called Columbia Care, and they've been trying to ride the wave of recreational legalization. The problem is that every state has its own way of setting up their licensing process, and the result is often confusion and controversy. To be fair, this often happens when a long-standing ban is lifted, when something goes from illegal to legal. It happened with alcohol, it happened with fireworks, it happened with gay marriage. But Adam Gores argues that with cannabis, some states have done a particularly bad job.
I'll point out one that's done it probably the worst. It's New York State that delayed the rollout of their marketplace by not allowing their medical businesses to get started and waiting to let new businesses join in first, which took years. And in that vacuum, the illicit market just dominated. And so, headlines everywhere that there's thousands and thousands of illicit shops in New York that have been very difficult to shut down.
As a New Yorker, I can vouch for those headlines. There are now a few dozen licensed cannabis shops in New York City, but since legalization in 2021, there have been 3,000 illegal shops. The average customer would have no idea those illegal shops are illegal. They have real neon signs, real employees, and real weed. Their products might be properly labeled, and they might have been tested for contaminants, but also
Another
maybe
day in
not.
paradise. Good to see
So
you.
why has it been so
how you
hard
doing?
to shut
Hopefully
down
you're smoking
illegal
good.
shops? The economist Coleman Strumpf has been studying legal and illegal cannabis markets in the U.S. He's the one who found that fun fact I shared earlier, that 70% of the weed shops in L.A. are illegal. Here's what he told me in an email. It is rare for police to permanently shut down a store. In short, this comes back to jurisdictional confusion, demoralization of police. Essentially, they were told they were villains in the war on crime, and now they have to figure out not if a drug is legal, but if the seller is legal. And perseverance by illegal stores. After an arrest, they often reopen a store right near where their old store was. If you happen to walk into a weed store and you aren't sure if it's legit, one fun thing to do is ask to see their license. That usually turns into an interesting conversation. You can also check the prices. If the store is unlicensed, they're going to be cheaper, maybe half the price you'd find in a legal store. This makes sense. Running an illegal operation is a lot cheaper. No licensing fees, no testing fees, no taxes to pay. According to one estimate of California's cannabis market, annual sales of the legal product are at $5 billion, with illegal sales at $8 billion. It's hard to think of another industry where the legal version gets so badly beaten by the illegal version. If you can think of one, let me know. In most heavily regulated industries, think of pharmaceuticals, the manufacturer can pass along all those regulatory costs to the customer. When cannabis firms do that, they make the illegal version even cheaper by comparison. So legal firms try to keep their prices down, which makes it harder to make money. A recent survey by Whitney Economics, a big cannabis research firm, found that only 24% of licensed operators in the U.S. are turning a profit.
There's a lot of unrealistic expectations.
That is John Calkins. He is a drug policy researcher at Carnegie Mellon University. We heard from him last week, too. This time, I asked Calkins why the legal cannabis market isn't working so well. He says there are at least 3 major reasons.
One is just legalization is like a radical technological innovation creating a brand new market. Cannabis has been used for thousands of years, but the kinds of production methods you can use after legalization are entirely different. So it's like a brand new market. And it is actually normal when there's a brand new market for thousands of people to jump in trying to get rich and 80% of them to go bankrupt. So some of it is actually just a normal, healthy shakeout of a market. A second issue is the thousands of people jumping in didn't all clue in to the fact that prices were going to collapse. They didn't all clue into this reality that it is way, way, way less expensive to produce cannabis when it's legal than when you're trying to do it while hiding from law enforcement. But the third issue is the one that's really an important policy question, which is how do legal companies compete against illegal companies? The misinformation story here is the legal industry says, oh, it's all the taxes. You just got to repeal the taxes. That's what's killing us. That's not the right way to think about it, because the costs of operating within the legal regulated market go way beyond cannabis-specific excise taxes. They include things like Social Security and income taxes, things like having a workplace that meets workplace safety standards. All of those things collectively drive up the cost of business, much above people who just get to totally ignore the rules. Let me tell you a story that I love because it makes the point. Way back in 2013, I happened to be interacting with, call them a gray market entity. They were not like an organized criminal group. They were trying to operate like a business. And the guy said, the regulations are killing me. They're asking me to put wheelchair ramps into my greenhouses to make them ADA compliant. Following the whole set of rules that legal companies are supposed to follow does put them at a big cost disadvantage compared to the companies who just get to not follow the rules. So the answer to that is not repeal the cannabis taxes. The answer to that is don't let the people who are flouting the rules flout the rules.
As Calkins sees it, the cannabis economy has entered a vicious cycle of non-enforcement, which is bad news for pretty much everybody except a handful of illegal entrepreneurs.
We had this myth that with legalization, we could stop all enforcement. That was totally wrong. After legalization, you still need to enforce the regulations. The good news is you can do that without filling up prisons. You're going to do things like seize their assets. But the complete hands-off, I'm not going to mess with the people who aren't following the rules, is directly harming the people who are trying to follow the rules and incur all the costs of following the rules. And California came to that realization late. They got a slow start, and they're in a bit of a hole trying to get out of that.
There's one more feature of cannabis legalization that has made some state rollouts confusing and controversial. In the past, a disproportionate share of the people arrested for using cannabis were black. So a lot of states and cities are trying to right that wrong by building a social equity component into their licensing procedures. After the break, we will hear how that's working out in San Francisco. And it turns out you can't talk about cannabis without talking about Minnesota. That's coming up. I'm Stephen Dubner, and you are listening to Freakonomics Radio. We heard earlier from Nikesh Patel, the CEO of a cannabis firm in Los Angeles called Mammoth. Here now is our next guest.
My name is Nikesh Patel, and I'm the director of the San Francisco Office of Cannabis.
That's right. 2 Nikesh Patels, both in the California cannabis industry. One a producer down south, the other a regulator up north. That's a little surprising, but honestly, we've had a lot of surprises ever since we started reporting out this cannabis series. So, Nikesh, I see you have an undergraduate degree from Stanford, a graduate degree in migration policy from Oxford, and a law degree from Berkeley. Did you think when you were getting all that education that you were going to end up running the San Francisco weed office?
If you ask my high school friends, whether they saw this coming. They might laugh you out of the
Shout out my
room,
brother
but
Bronze in the
if you ask
building.
the people I grew up with in the Tenderloin,
Shouts out to
they would
Flat Power
say, yeah,
God.
you know what, it
I
was
know he
always a
fed my
part of your
lamb.
makeup because every time we came to where you lived, we could
Do-do-do-do.
smell it everywhere around you. I grew up on Eddy and Polk. The hotel that I grew up in is still there. My parents were running a single-room occupancy hotel. About 90 individuals were staying there apart from us, but I was going to school in Pacific Heights. So there was this daily juxtaposition between extreme have-nots and then a more affluent part of the city. It's the reason why I do a lot of the work I do now, because I recognize that there are a lot of people who have the ability, but not necessarily the means, to get ahead in life. And that's why the equity program and the work we do at the Office of Cannabis and the city as a whole is so inspiring, because it's designed to bridge those opportunity gaps and give people who may not have a seat at a table an opportunity to say, look, I'm willing and ready to try if you're willing to give an opportunity.
San Francisco's legal cannabis system doesn't just include a social equity component, the way many cities and states do. It is built around this idea.
It's supposed to be this program that gives people that have been disproportionately impacted by cannabis enforcement in this country an opportunity to own business. Cannabis also has the added difficulty of having a rich history that's rooted in criminalization in a way that also applied to alcohol, but feels different, and it feels like it extended for longer and was more specific against the types of communities that it was exacted against, Black and brown people in particular. Imagine walking into a store, a cannabis store, that's in any one of San Francisco's neighborhoods. You might learn that the owner of the store is actually someone who grew up in San Francisco. They may have experienced some housing insecurity in the city.
And Nikesh, what are the odds that the person running that store, or maybe owning the store, was arrested for selling cannabis when it was illicit in the state?
Pretty high. That's part of what makes these stores really unique.
So, how many legal retail shops are there in the city of San Francisco right now?
In terms of our equity businesses, there are 54.
I'm networking in Chevy Addicts LLC
And then
chat right
when you
now.
factor
See,
in
this is what I'm
the
talking about.
medical
Shout
cannabis
out to the
dispensaries,
networking gang.
that's
Y'all know
about
how we
another
do.
30.
The
So all
cultivation
told, it's in
channel
the
was like,
vicinity
hey,
of around 80.
Spider Pig trying to
And
catch
then
up
how many
because
illicit
Spider
shops
Pig
are
did
there?
hit.
Really good question.
And while I'm sitting here talking my ish, let me put this on screen. Spider Pig did hit. That boy Spider Pig hit for me. Yeah. Shout out to Spider Pig. Because, you know, just like Beat After Beat out here hitting some numbers. Spider Pig hit numbers too. That boy hit 1,500 subs. Let me show you what we talk about. Shout out to that pig. Let's see. O-S. No. P-I. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to the channel. Yeah, 1.5K. See, y'all see that right there. Right there, 1.5K. Your boy hit numbers on Spider Pig, so you know Super Saturdays is kicking it. Yeah, we ain't got to do too much. We're just going to keep it going. Oh, that Billy and Mandy video at 700. Oh, shit. That's dope. I got a video on this channel. Almost had 1,000. Somebody just shared it out too. That's even better. Because, you know, I don't be asking people to like, comment, or subscribe. I just let y'all do y'all thing. You know, you make yourself look good out here in these streets. You find something you like, you better be sharing that stuff. Shouts out to the things we share, right? Right. That's what I'm talking about. If you don't like nothing, don't share nothing. That'll let people know something right there. Hell, I get liked and shared all the time, and I don't even ask people; they just do it. You know, shouts out to the networking game. People know how to represent themselves around you. Sometimes, hopefully, probably not. That's why I'm saying I just show the work because it's the workbook, baby. Yeah, we might be done with the workbook, but we still got homework to do, right? Hey, it ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying? Then we got advanced studies to take here coming up in the future. Shit. You know, shout out to the cultivating, moving shit around. But like I said, y'all know we do our thing over here in these YouTube streets. We kind of semi-professional. You know what I'm saying? But let's get back to our video, because I know y'all ain't here to look at Spider Pig all day. Y'all go over there and watch that. Hey, shouts out to that.
I almost most don't want to answer it because I'd rather not jinx the way things are right now, but in San Francisco, there are far fewer illicit retail businesses.
Far fewer than the legal ones, you're saying?
That's right. It's a reflection of the relationship between the Department of Cannabis Control, the Office of Cannabis, the San Francisco Police Department, the Fire Department. We're working on becoming even more integrated than we currently are to step into the world and say, look, this is what's going to happen when you're operating illicitly in the retail space.
We went back to the economist Coleman Strumpf and asked him to share his data on legal versus illegal stores. He told us that as of the end of 2019, there were around 100 licensed retailers in San Francisco and just 21 unlicensed. That is the opposite of LA and New York City, where the vast majority of the shops are illegal. So does this mean that the legal weed shops in San Francisco are making a lot of money since they don't face much competition from illegal shops? It does not. Even with all the support from Nikesh Patel's office, revenues have been falling significantly.
It's an economically challenging time for anyone in the cannabis space. Part of that is because there are a lot of regulations. Part of it is because there are high taxes. Part of it is because there's still federal uncertainty around the legal status of cannabis. You don't get to claim the same tax exemptions. When you're applying for an insurance policy, the premiums are going to be really high. When you are looking for financing, you're going to...
Bank of America did turn down my company because they said my name was synonymous with cannabis industry, and I said, well, no, it's Team Deepwater Cultivating. It don't say nowhere in there about what we cultivate. It's just cultivating. Yeah, you cultivating cannabis, Mr. Harper. Nah, on one channel I am, but then when you look at the Team Deepwater Cultivating channel itself, you don't see nothing about cannabis over there. You see what I'm saying? That's why we got two channels. You dig? It's two sides of the street. Hell, it's two sides of the coin. Hell, flip heads or tails. Which one you talking about? We got a legal business. You see what I'm saying? So I do have bank accounts and cards and all that good shit because I'm smart enough to have a legal business. And then they want to tell me, nah, that kind of qualifies in the cannabis industry. No, it doesn't. Hell, that was just at that bank. Fuck Bank of America. You know what I'm saying? What do you say? Fuck PlayStation. Fuck John Madden. I'm out here playing in gardens. You dig?
be paying more than other small business entrepreneurs. So there are some economic challenges that come with being in cannabis. Right now, they are exacerbated by local conditions in San Francisco. We're still recovering from the pandemic. There's a lot of product in the market, so that also makes it harder to compete. There's illicit product in the market. I will say this much, I have a lot of respect for anyone who's in the cannabis space because it's a very challenging time, and I take great pride in the operators in San Francisco being able to endure these challenging times. It's a resilient bunch.
I've read one report that says only about a quarter of cannabis operators are profitable. It sounds like San Francisco, you're having similar challenges that everybody's having in terms of supply and demand and tax and regulation and so on. But in San Francisco in particular, does this mean that the city or some institution, some office is subsidizing these stores in particular?
Interesting question. We refer to the dollars that come through the state and then through the city as grant relief. And so there are grant dollars that the Office of Cannabis is working very hard to make directly available to our equity operators and equity applicants. To date, the office has dispersed around $12.3 million, and that's since 2021. That means that if you are an eligible business or an operator / applicant, your business may have realized anywhere between $50,000 to $250,000 over the last couple of years alone.
And that's only on the retail side. That's not on the cultivating side or manufacturing side. Is that right?
No, that's inclusive of both retail and supply side.
I see. Okay. So, I mean, if I take a step back, especially if I'm a person who's really anti-cannabis, I take a step back and I say, wait a minute. The city of San Francisco and the state of California are paying weed store operators to operate. They're making these pretty substantial grants into a market that was supposed to be robust and was supposed to support itself, but is not. So how would you respond to that concern?
I would say that cannabis is heavily taxed, and the dollars that are
Shout out to the homie YouTube cameras. They just went live. Y'all want to go check them out. Y'all know damn well y'all like that type of stuff. Y'all be over there in them streets over there on that type of content, made it happen, but it be popping, so we appreciate that. That's why we promote it. You know what I'm saying? Sis doing her thing, so y'all know to go check her out.
Coming through the grant relief to these programs are actually a portion of the taxes that cannabis businesses are paying. The broader picture is that only a portion of the taxes that cannabis businesses are paying are going back into those businesses. The other portion of the taxes are going into other services that are beyond just cannabis.
Like what?
There's a lot of money that's going into doing research around cannabis itself that wasn't previously.
Anyways, y'all already see we like 30 minutes into this video, so y'all already know what type of time I gotta be back on. I gotta go back and pay my bills. Shout out to Spider Pig, because, you know, he done partially did his thing today. He done showed up in my video, because, you know, he did something. He hit 1,500 subs, and he getting his thing going. The boy almost got 200K views also, so y'all know, y'all already know. Look, it says it right there. 167,000, so we're gonna be getting 200K views over there next. You dig? Unless the cultivation channel takes off, but you never know with the cultivation channel because it's doing its thing. But anyways, back to the bill paying aspect. Let's go to my playlist, my ready to go playlist, because, you know, this is where we actually pay the bills at. I got videos over there, but
pick a strain, whatever you want, you can get. Indica sativa, never rolling plain Jane. I know some people, if you want, drive 50, we ain't gon' cop any. Little mama got plenty, so many strain, puffing the flame, nothing but dro. One for the brain, one for the body, one for the soul. Running with strange, keeping the party under control. Up, away, flying, how far are we gonna go? Smoke team in the building, got 'em, it's what the deal is. Wrecking knobs, coming with Burns, Felix, fulfilling County boy, got the liquor. Castle was on the fader, Stevie came with the greenery, mixing multiple flavors, whatever you want, homie. Tell me when to say when. How about you and your friends? Come get with me and my friends and keep it real with me, girl. I don't want to pretend like this is a new thing. Really, that's what it's been like.
Shout out to Giggle Binko, because I don't know if people who are watching are noticed, but Giggle Binko is carving the land, and it's a good one. It's a good way to put yourself in front of people. Everything is going on. I really like it. I like Giggles. Giggles is cool.
She's a great person. Her and Sam are just really good people. Beautiful heart.
She said she took over everything. All the roads.
She has a way of just like wiggling in and being like, hi.
Every Friday on the Higher Desert Exotics podcast, we give away packs just like these from Giggle Binko. So if you'd like a chance to win, like some of our lucky winners, then come check us out at 6 p.m. on Fridays, Mountain Standard Time, for your chance.
Which parent are you? In the bustling city of Nutriville, a group of extraordinary individuals has emerged, known far and wide as the superfood parents.
shout out to them superfood
They are
parents.
on a mission to transform their families' lives through the power of nutrition, one delicious bite at a time. Meet Chef Lakita Marie, the culinary mastermind behind the Superfood Parents Playbook. With boundless enthusiasm, she welcomes you to embark on a thrilling journey to becoming a true superfood hero. But what exactly does that mean? In Nutriville, superfood parents are everyday heroes. These superfood parents lead the charge for better health, but not with capes. They lead with carrots and whole food fats like avocados. And instead of masks, they lead with mangoes and berries. Fruits and vegetables are the disease-destroying arsenal of heroes. Are you a disease destroyer superhero for your loved ones? Fruits and veggies fuel the mission of heroes like Veggie Vixen. Are you a Veggie Vixen for your loved ones? Dedicated to ensuring their loved ones thrive on a diet rich in faves, fruits and vegetables. Here's your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to guide your family to superhero status by reaching the highest levels of health and wellness daily. Become a plant-powered titan, a superfood avenger, or even a face crusader by earning 5 points for every fruit or vegetable eaten. It's a fun-filled plus where nutrition meets excitement. All of the digital details are at superfoodparents.com for the full experience. Superfood Parents has also created workbooks, where you'll discover the tools you need for success. These workbooks give you the heroic strategies to craft your grocery list like a seasoned hero. Which means you now have a playbook to even track your weekly meals like a true champion. and engage in mind-bending nutritional education with word searches that will keep your family entertained and informed. So, are you ready to join the ranks of the superfood parents? Are you prepared to unleash the power of faith and make every meal a heroic endeavor? If so, flip the page of the Superfood Playbook and let's begin your journey to becoming the ultimate superfood hero.
To become a sponsor, just visit superfoodparents.com.
Shouts out to
So
Melinda
this
Elliott.
is day 3
Y'all
of
know
the
she's a level 2 buy
KOV
me a coffee member.
challenge. So one of the things that we're supposed to do is ask a question, and one of the questions I'm interested in is, what do you think about my channel? When I started this channel, I started it, well, for me, I'm a type A personality and I needed to relax. I have some disabilities that are related to stress, and it seems like people like them and watch them. But you guys tell me what you think. Bye.
We kept plugging away with the weed deliveries, and we kept meeting different kinds of smokers, like this lady. She's an I'm only creative if I smoke smoker. She believes weed and only weed brings out the artist in her.
Would you like to hear some of my poetry?
Not really.
You really should. I have killed. I have helped kill. I have killed part of myself. I cannot change this. I must seek Buddha. I must seek Christ.
You must seek therapy. That's why I would go with that, but that's my own. The MacGyver smoker is a very handy guy to have around, especially when it comes to reefer.
Hey man, we're out of papers. All right, then get me a toilet paper roll, a corkscrew, and some tinfoil.
We don't have a corkscrew.
All right, then get me an avocado, an ice pick, and my snorkel. Trust me, bro, I've made bars with less. Hurry up.
And then you got your straight up potheads. And you can spot these people by their lack of motivation, mood swings, forgetfulness, and of course, the dreaded low sperm count. I don't know which one of these categories we fall into, but I'll tell you this. We ain't no goddamn potheads.
Alright, let's try to make sure I keep up with my video spots on this time's edits, because I'm trying to do this with no fucking editing. Shout out to me, because if I get it done, I don't have to edit it later. But you know how it goes when you make videos, so you know, it is what it is. If you gotta edit, you gotta edit. If you don't, you didn't. So, we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna put him up on a little bit faster speed, because I know y'all know I'm not slow, so... We're gonna step it up to 1.5. That way we can get up out of here today, right? Right.
Available, that's tremendously important. There hasn't been much academic study that's gone into the effects of cannabis, what they are long-term versus short-term. Now funding is becoming available to actually do that work.
San Francisco may be the friendliest jurisdiction imaginable for a minority cannabis entrepreneur. One report from 2021 found that nationwide, fewer than 2% of owners in the cannabis industry are black. Even in the places that do profess a strong interest in social equity, the policies and politics can be tricky. New Jersey, for instance.
My name is Precious Osage-Arese, and I am the founder and CEO of Precious Canna Company. Precious Canna Company is the first black woman-owned pre-roll brand to launch in the state of New Jersey.
A pre-roll, in case you have forgotten.
A pre-roll is cannabis that's already been rolled for you in a joint-like form, so you don't have to do nothing but pull it out, light it up, and enjoy yourself.
New Jersey began to roll out its recreational cannabis program in 2022.
We're in about 20 dispensaries and growing.
That's a pretty small footprint, to be honest, especially when you hear what Osage-Arese was hoping for when she got started in the cannabis business.
Listen, I went up for licensing. I tried to open my own dispensary. I sunk my life savings and raised over $2 million to get into the game. I was not able to get that dispensary.
Okay, so let's back up.
I never thought I'd be in cannabis, okay? If you would have asked me, my parents, I am a Nigerian-born African-American woman. When I sat my parents down and told them I was entering the cannabis industry, they asked for a PowerPoint presentation as to how this makes sense for my life. Before cannabis, I was an aspiring journalist. I interned at CNN with Wolf Blitzer. At one point, I just really enjoyed news. And the news of the day in New Jersey was weed. I remember our governor running on weed and wages. That was the news of the day.
So in 2019, she and a business partner started a CBD delivery company called Roll Up Life. CBD is one of the non-intoxicating components of the cannabis plant. A lot of people like it for pain and stress relief. CBD was already legal in New Jersey, as it was in most states, and Osage Arese saw it as a good entry point, a way to get the feel for the industry while awaiting full legalization in New Jersey. She and her partner got exposure to the supply chain logistics, the financial regulations, and other wrinkles of the cannabis industry. The goal was obvious, to be in position to win a license when the time came.
Everyone wants to have this license. This license gives you the green light to cultivate, manufacture, dispense, distribute, wholesale, or deliver.
But the number of licenses are limited, and there was a lot of competition. Osage Arese thought she had a good chance for two reasons: her experience with CBD and the fact that as a Nigerian-born African-American, she would score high on the social equity portion of the New Jersey application. So what happened? She thinks politics got in the way.
I'll give you the short of it. Our property was located near another property that was being backed by very high political figures within the New Jersey Democratic Party and within the East Orange Democratic Party. I even got a call from a council person who said, hey, if you move your property, we'll give you your license. I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to work. If we are on a merit-based system and my application proved to meet those merits, why do I have to move my property? There was a big city hall meeting. As they were calling out the names of the winners for the dispensary licenses, Roll Up Life Inc. was not called. And that was very hard for us. I can't even begin to tell you how much it stretched me as a founder, stretched my family when we weren't able to really overcome that.
That's her understanding, at least. Here's a statement from a spokesperson for one of the political figures that she says received this favor. There has been no undue political influence on behalf of the cannabis firm in question, as they have been treated the same as the other applicant every step of the way and have presented a strong application for consideration. In any case, without a license to cultivate and manufacture and distribute, Precious Osage Arese didn't have a lot of options. So she came up with a new company name, Precious Canna, and she partnered with a firm that does have a license to cultivate and manufacture. All she does is the packaging and marketing. So her brand is just one of the many that compete for shelf space in New Jersey cannabis shops, and even when she succeeds, there isn't much money to be made.
Those numbers can be pretty small when you're in a licensing deal. Between 9 and 15% is usually the average negotiation you can get as a licensee.
In order to grow, she would have to expand Precious into other states, but that would mean finding a cultivating and manufacturing partner who's got a license in those places.
You have to look at where some of these new states are coming online because that provides new opportunity. When you look at Florida coming online in November, it's very exciting. And you watch how larger corporations have already put their stake in the ground for states. You know, Florida is really habitated by Trulieve. They have dispensaries already there on the medical side in Florida. So imagine when that flip switch to recreational. Be cool to be a Trulieve company right now.
When Osage Arese mentioned that legal cannabis coming online in Florida in November, that is still a maybe. It's up to the voters in Florida. But there is one more wrinkle in the cannabis economy, more of a loophole than a wrinkle, actually, which means that even if you are in a state where recreational cannabis is not legal, there is still a legal way to buy products with THC, the intoxicating component in cannabis. Let me explain. In 2018, Congress passed a new farm bill, as it does every 5 or 6 years, in order to keep the country's agricultural policy up to date. The 2018 version allowed the cultivation of hemp, which are cannabis plants with low THC content. Here again is John Calkins, the drug policy researcher.
The intent of the Farm Bill was to allow farmers to grow the cannabis plant for shirts and rope and seed and so on. And the clause in the bill said a product with less than 0.3% THC will be called hemp and will be outside. Well, that created 3 layers of loophole exploitation that's dysfunctional. One is people put the THC in a gummy or a candy bar and said, hey, it's less than 0.3% by weight THC. But that doesn't mean that it's a negligible quantity of THC. It just means that the weight of THC is divided by the weight of the food product. And then there was a whole bunch of producing plants with CBD but not THC, and then converting the CBD into THC, or sometimes converting it into THC-8, because the Farm Bill specifically was THC-9.
THC-9, also known as Delta-9 THC, is the most abundant cannabinoid in traditional cannabis. It is the one that gets you high. But entrepreneurs taking advantage of the Farm Bill hemp loophole began making a new class of intoxicating hemp products which isolate other cannabinoids like Delta-8 THC and Delta-10 THC and CBD. There's been a lot of research by now on CBD, which doesn't get you high and is generally considered a safe medical treatment for a variety of conditions. But cannabinoids like THC-8 and THC-10 are much less well understood, and their psychoactive effects can vary from person to person. The licensed cannabis industry, through the tracking and testing we heard about earlier, is heavily regulated. This signals to consumers that their products are consistent and not dangerous. But new players who come into the industry through the hemp loophole may not have the same standards.
And then the most recent loophole is people say, hey, wait, I grew regular old cannabis. It's just like the stuff that you mean to regulate. But technically, until it's heated, it's not THC-9, it's THCA that hasn't been decarboxylated by the heating process. None of that was intended when the Congress tried to let farmers make rope and shirts. So all of that stuff is happening totally outside of any regulation, and there's nasty stuff that happens. Some of the byproducts of the conversion of the CBD into THC, you can get some unnatural cannabinoids that are really not well understood. There's horrible labeling. So there's a lot of ways in which the current situation is much more of a Wild West.
So, even in many states where cannabis is illegal, you can buy intoxicating hemp-based products in gas stations, corner stores, online retailers. You can even use a credit card, since those sellers are not locked out of the banking system the way that licensed cannabis sellers are in states where cannabis is legal. One research group puts the U.S. market for hemp-derived cannabinoids at nearly $3 billion, up from just $200 million a few years ago. If you are the kind of person who likes to take note of the unintended consequences of well-meaning legislation, well, this was a pretty big one. Some lawmakers in Congress are trying to close the hemp loophole in the next farm bill. Until then, some states are happy to take advantage. Minnesota, for instance. Minnesota did recently vote to legalize recreational cannabis, but the infrastructure to start selling won't be ready until at least 2025. Until then, hemp-derived products are the only legal recreational THC in Minnesota. And there's one product that has proven especially popular. If you remember part 1 of the series, we heard from the author Tom Standage about the history of alcohol. Here's another question I asked Standage during that interview. Given what you know about alcohol and other drugs, and given what you know about human history and civilization and all the connections, technological, economic, political, and so on, with alcohol, could you imagine a world in which cannabis, perhaps in many different varieties and formats and strengths like alcohol, had been the dominant social drug of the past few millennia rather than alcohol?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing about liquids is that they're very easy to divide, so you can share them very easily. There's a huge amount of flexibility and versatility. There are reasons why they're so embedded into our culture in a way that something that you smoke can't be quite as much.
So, Tom Standage sees the social component of alcohol as unbeatable. It is true that for many of us, there is nothing more enjoyable than holding a glass of something you love while hanging out with the people you love. We've been doing this for millennia. If cannabis is ever to replace alcohol to any significant degree, it would need to perform that function. In Minnesota, it does. Thanks to the hemp loophole, bars there have begun serving THC drinks alongside booze. So when we learned that one of our producers, Augusta Chapman, was going to be in Minneapolis this summer, we asked her to show up thirsty at one of these bars with a microphone. She went to a place called the Iron Door Pub.
Can you tell me your name and what you do?
I'm Rick, I'm a bartender.
How long have you been doing THC here?
We've done it ever since it was legal in the state. We have everything from seltzers to more of a soda pop kind of deal. We also sell edibles, like puffed popcorn, cookies, gummies.
And is it popular?
Very popular, yes. A lot of people, when they switch from alcohol over to THC, it becomes a lot more of a, we can actually go out, socialize still grab a meal, not feel obligated to sit there and drink water kind of deal.
Can I try one? Which one would you recommend?
Personally, I really like the Flying Cloud. It kind of tastes like an orange dreamsicle. Otherwise, the Midas Melts are one of our best sellers here. The blood orange vanilla raspberry is quite delicious.
I'll try the melt. That looks great. Blood orange. Cool. Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna try it. Honestly, if I didn't know that this had THC in it, I'm not sure that I would be able to tell you that it does.
And I caught up with Augusta when she got back to New York. I asked how she enjoyed her visit to the Iron Door.
Yeah, I was so high when I got home from that. It was not good.
What did the drinks taste like? Were they weedy or boozy or more like soda?
Yeah, they're like sodas, and they were delicious. That's why I got high, because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna try it, and then I kept sipping them.
How many did you have?
I had like a quarter of 3 different ones, and they were each 10 milligrams. So I got through all the reporting, and then I got in the car with my girlfriend, and she was driving us home, and I was like, whoa, don't let me talk to your mom when we get back.
I think what's happening in the Minnesota THC adult beverage market is really very important and very innovative, and could interact with alcohol consumption in ways very differently than other cannabis products do.
That, again, is John Calkins.
What I mean is, THC adult beverages might substitute for alcohol, even if smoked, vaped, dabbed cannabis does not. The other thing that's really interesting in Minnesota is the degree of responsibility that the retailers are demonstrating in this space. So I think what's going on is that the sellers, the restaurants and bars, are alcohol licensees, and they care a lot about holding on to that alcohol license, so they're trying very hard not to get in trouble, not to serve someone who ends up being an impaired driver, for instance. And I think that is potentially creating a much healthier industry than the aggressive Wild West culture that is common in a large number of the cannabis firms. So I think we should be watching what's happening in Minnesota with great interest.
And I went back to Nikesh Patel, the first Nikesh Patel we spoke with today, the CEO of Mammoth Distribution, the LA cannabis company that's one of the biggest cannabis beverage manufacturers out there.
I mean, for me personally, it's way better than alcohol. It feels better. Like, there's this whole Cali sober thing.
Cali sober meaning I don't drink alcohol, but I consume cannabis, correct?
Correct, yeah, exactly. I think it's like a mix of calories and just like the negative effects that you've learned about, drunk driving and aggression and all that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you to just take a step back for a minute. Try to pull yourself back from the momentary chaos. I'm curious to know where you see the industry being in 5 or 10 years. And what I really want to know is how much do you think that cannabis might replace alcohol?
So I think in 5 years, I see the ability to recreationally
Cali
consume
sober line
THC and derivatives of it is going to be way more accessible. The impact on alcohol, you're already kind of seeing it, right? This is the first time that there's more daily cannabis users than daily alcohol users.
I do see a variety of tie-ups of various sorts. Green Thumb Industries, GTI, I read very recently expressed interest in merging with Boston Beer, maker Sam Adams Beer. I see that Tilray, the cannabis company, announced an expanded strategic partnership with Novartis, the pharmaceutical firm, to work on medical products in legal markets. Do you think the most likely outcome for your company, Mammoth, will be some kind of tie-up with some more established firm like that?
I think that's the hope, right? Whether it's alcohol or even cigarette companies have said they need to move their money away from cigarette sales. I hope that also the non-sin businesses might be interested. Coca-Cola might be interested in a beverage that does XYZ.
I mean, Coca-Cola started with cocaine.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I also think if the landscape becomes more clear, there'll just be more general investment.
He
So
said
I think
Coca-Cola
cannabis will stand on
started with
its own legs
cocaine,
too.
so
I think it will be as big, if not bigger,
we're
than
going to
alcohol
hemp.
in total market size.
If the cannabis market is going to get that much bigger, they're going to need a lot of cannabis.
We grow killer weed.
Coming up next time in part 3 of our series, what does it take to be a successful cannabis person?
This is outdoor flower. These fan leaves are starting to turn yellow, so they're not really doing anything for the plant.
We spend the day on a cannabis farm, watching everything from seed to sale. That's next time on the show. Until then, take care of yourself. And if you can, someone else too. Freakonomics Radio is produced by Stitcher and Redbud Radio. You can find our entire archive on any podcast app, also at freakonomics.com, where we publish transcripts and show notes.
All right, so let's see. He's done. So now, one little entertaining clip that I did have in this list, like I said, we had some stuff for you. Shout out to the videos. We're going to get into boom.
Hope you don't mind. We made some tea.
Forgot to get that play speed back to regular for this. But I got you. Boom.
Allow me to introduce myself. I'm the bloke you're stealing from. The name's Alistair Rigby, but as far as you're concerned, I'm Willy fucking Wonka, and you're taking a shit in my fucking chocolate factory. Easy, boss. Don't get upset. When I have to go to the dentist, I'm upset. When Liverpool beats Arsenal, I'm upset. But when some little shit decides to take over one of the most profitable territories in the country, I'm beyond fucking upset. I'm very fucking upset. So, from now on, you're under new management. You will work for me, and in return, you'll receive an allowance.
Allowance?
Yes, allowance. As in, I'm allowing you to keep 10%, and I'm allowing you to keep drawing breath on this earth. Now, you either get down, or you lay down. What's it gonna be, sunshine?
This wasn't no movie. The smart thing was to say yes, get up, and leave the room. But then I thought to myself, what if this was a movie? Look, fuck you, fuck the plane you flew in on, fuck them shoes, fuck those socks with the bell on it, fuck your gay-ass fairy faggot accent, fuck them cheap-ass cigars, fuck your yuck-mouth teeth, fuck your hairpiece, fuck your chocolate, fuck Guy Ritchie, fuck Prince William, fuck the Queen. This is America. My president is black and my Lambo is blue, nigga. Now get the fuck out of my hotel room. And if I see you in the street, I'm slapping the shit out of you.
I think this one spent so much time in the cinema. Teach this cheeky bastard a lesson. Nobody fucking move!
Oh man, this is bad.
What is this? A casting call for the Sopranos reunion? Do me a favour. Tell room service nobody here ordered the extra large whop with a side order of whops.
Whoa!
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right?
Yeah.
I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman?
Yup.
You ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to see it, man. It's just whack.
$60, yo.
Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill? On weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Man, you fucking crazy, yo. No, it's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
Let's discuss my payment. That time is past. No 5,000 for you. The price is 50. How about your payment is you get to leave? Not enough. Oh, you think you can negotiate with me? I say the word, my nephews go to a certain motel, pay a visit to your daughter-in-law and your little granddaughter. What do you think happens then? Consider your position carefully. I get my money, or neither of us walk out of here. You willing to die for this? Maybe I need the 50,000 more than you do.
He said maybe I need 50,000 more than you. Pause over there. Go ahead.
Kept plugging away with the weed deliveries, and we kept meeting different kinds of smokers. Like this lady. She's an I'm only creative if I...
Nope.
Give it gas when I'm different competition, getting past, living fast, furious, staying on track, never worry when I'm spinning. Last better get in back, ride from my dog, alphabeted on us, you gon' get it back. Never split this pack. Whenever I witness cap, we ain't fucking with your fiction, facts, your conviction lacks. When I get up in my bag, I'ma spend, we ain't tripping off tax, clipping this tag, working on my wish list, cooking this cake. Let me flip this stack. You a flash in the pan, while you relax in a can. My team in the pack, the sedan, putting tracks in the sand, pushing my craft for the fan, got the people all clapping their hands, putting cash in my brand, keeping my octane high, my graded premium, not 8-9 or 8-7, and when I run across state line, I'm 9-1, I gun it, clock great time, my time come, disappearing in the dark horizon, way I cut turns, I'm as sharp as diamonds, got them on tilt like a car's alignment, this is raw refinement, not a hard assignment, I'ma give it gas, give it gas, bitch.
Alright, Team DWC. Y'all know we'll see y'all Wednesday at 6. But we'll have some video clips in the meantime, because y'all already know I'm going ham with those. Shouts out to doing the verticals, because you get clips. If you don't know how to clip, ask your boy in the comments. I'll show you how to do it on the instructions. I'll tell you right now, you got 3 little fucking options. Well, 4 of them. On the side of the screen, it's got the little circle for flipping the camera. It's got their microphone. Then it's got the 3 zones. Then it's got the little thing at the bottom. The thing at the bottom is for the clips. It'll take up to 5 minutes for your clips, so make sure you clip it whenever you know you want clips. There you go. How to clip tutorial at the end of the video. You know, shout out to the big homie. We got you.